Okay, since the amplitude is 0, so meaning this means that at pi 0, negative pi, we have 0 amplitude. At 0 we have 0 amplitude, but at negative 0 we have square x to the power of 2, and then at pi 2. But we need to define. This one is okay, we don't need to define, but this one we need to find. So the one that is not 0, if the amplitude is not 0, in this case we're going to plug x equal to these 2 points. So we're going to place s and ending point just to know okay what it's going to be. So let's start. If starting point which is 0, so this will give us s square, so it will be s of we're going to replace the s square with that 0, so it will be 0 square, which will give us 0. So meaning at 0 we still have 0. But let's see if we put pi. So when we put pi, it will be pi square, so which will give us pi to the power of pi. Okay, so this is what we're going to have as amplitude on those 2 points that you see here. So now let's draw it so then you can see. Okay, and we needed only to solve for 1 because this one, the amplitude is already 0. There's no need for us to solve anything. So let me just show you what we're going to get as and why we went to those calculations. That this is where we have 0. Okay, this is negative pi. Remember, this is where we have all the pi, and this is where we have pi, and then this is x, and this one is f of x. Okay, and then we got our f of x equal to 0. So this is where we have, and then we got to represent this other amplitude, which could be maybe somewhere here. This is where we have pi square as amplitude, and this is where we have only pi. Okay, but our main focus is not because we use pi to represent this. So this is where we have, so the first piece is between negative pi and 0, so it's gonna be between those two, and the second piece is going to be between those two. Okay, and then say the amplitude between negative pi and 0 is actually 0, so meaning amplitude is 0, so we're going to have a 0 here, since the amplitude equals 0 between negative pi and 0. That's what we're going to get. Okay, but between pi 0 and pi x square, this is what you see here. So at 0 we're going to start at 0. This is where we're going to start because we got 0, and we're going to end at pi 2. Pi 2 is actually here. See if I have to connect the ending point between this point we're going to have pi 2, this point we're going to have 0. So this is where we're going to end. Okay, and if you go back to those representations we gave you earlier, so how we represent to the power of 2, it will be something like this. This is how we represent it. Okay, so this is our graph that you see here. Okay, and if you want to know what is the period is actually this one plus that one. So, or maybe it could be those 2 points here. So in order to find the period here of this function, should be, this is where we have our starting and ending point. So period is actually equal to absolute starting plus absolute ending point, so which will give you negative pi, absolute negative pi plus absolute pi, and the answer to this will be absolute is going to remove that negative sign, so you're going to have pi plus pi, which will give you 2 pi's. So your period equal to 2 pi, and you could represent your function, so ft, it's not ft, it's f of x, So I could represent f of x as x plus 2 pi. And remember, this is your amplitude, your period, sorry, this is the period that you got there. So this is how you can draw this function.